Okay, all right. 6 o'clock, first order of business is so far.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, keep the screen rolling here. We will take the minutes of June 7th. Second. Motion is second. Any further discussion on those? Seeing none, all those in favor? It's everybody. Members reports. We'll start with Lindsay. No. Dylan, Ron, cool. Kelsey. And nothing for me. Awesome. Yeah, comments.
All right, mine's pretty brief. Your school budget passed last week. We received our new assessment, which is obviously it'll start in July, and obviously the name was last year. Last week we had the third graders in from Mill Stream, which is an annual thing. That's always fun with them. And then they also visited the fire station. So good opportunity for them to come in and learn about what we do here and how they're involved in it already. Monday, Tuesday, July 3rd and 4th, the town office will be closed. The 4th is obviously the holiday. The 3rd, being the Monday, is going to be vacation day. So if they wanted to take that vacation on that Monday to make it 4, that's what they're going to do. So we will be closed for Monday and Tuesday, and we'll be open the rest of the week. Planning board meeting, there will be a planning board meeting on July 13th. I am very confident we will have a site plan review application to at least start looking at on that day. So we'll plan that one in. TIF committee is going to be postponed until July for a lack of business. Those meetings are at 5 o'clock now instead of 4. Last night, Rail Trail, DACF hosted a meeting at Mill Stream, very well attended. I had a ballpark head count of about 80 people that showed up. We had folks from up north, we had folks from down south. I said that Oakland to Emden. Folks were in attendance last night. Got some good information about where the project come from, where it's going, concerns that folks had, things that people like. And they are hopeful that it will be open in our area before the end of the summer. So a lot of what was kind of glazed over but reinforced was the regional cooperation and the role of the towns in supporting operations from kind of a self-preservation perspective, and then the opportunity for grants to support that as well. So obviously we're going to continue to keep an eye on that, but it was a good meeting overall last night. 30-day notices to lien, those are unpaid 2022 taxes. Those are going out on June 29th, which is next Thursday. That will be added fees on tax accounts. So if you owe last year's taxes and have the ability to pay, you want to get that done before next Thursday. Interest rates, we renegotiated those. Pretty much they don't want to give you decent interest rates on your base accounts. It's usually generally the savings or whatnot. We've negotiated with Scouting Savings Bank. Everything that's in the bank, no matter what it's in, is at 2.5%. Now that's up from 1.5% for the last 6 months. We also had a $1 million CD that was 18 months. That was the last fall, so that still had a ways to go. That was sitting at 2.5%. So I asked them if they'd be willing to break it and allow us to invest in a 9-month. They said, okay. So it's a 9-month at 4% on that one. So we're able to leverage that $1 million there. And then we also have another $1 million CD that we opened up in March that'll mature at the end of December. That's earning 4% as well. We do have some other residual money. I think fire reserve account. We're not going to need to put that money out. We can put that in at 4.5% for 5 to 9 months, depending upon commitment. So we've got Peter taking a look at those accounts, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll be able to make a move there just to earn a little bit extra. We're fortunate that we have that money to be able to move around. So we did also receive, the back end of that is we received our assessment from the county. That's an increase of 61,000. What we'll be putting out, that's 10.7% over last year. It's a pretty sizable chunk when you consider that we only bring in about now just shy of 3 million. We bring in to pay all of our bills at school, town, and county's going from 540 to 600,000. Yeah, anyway, people will feel it in their tax bills this year, unless they've got an adjusted value or they've gotten a one-time, what seems like one-time senior property tax freeze. Onto the library, we've received the librarian's resignation. Her last day it will be July 11th. Library trustee chair had asked that I delay posting the position, so we haven't pushed that out. Probably have not seen it unless you've been looking for an employment opportunity. And so they're going to talk about that at their meeting tomorrow. Decide whether or not the position needs to be filled, and if so, then what extent. With the thought that volunteers / friends of the library, there could be an opportunity there to supplement that. So more to come there. Like I said, the meeting tomorrow afternoon at the Mercer Road Library. Your Parks Committee, that boat parade, it's looking not very great, but July 1st is the boat parade at noontime. Rain date is that Sunday the 2nd. That's going to be kind of self-guided. You'll have Val out there, maybe the Ferns will be out there too. Should be a good opportunity, even if it's raining. I expect the people will go out. Parks Committee has a planning meeting on Monday afternoon at 4 to talk about Usula Days. And the Pike invoice came in for Burrell Hill Road. The initial contract estimated volumes was going to bring it in at 355,000. The final bill was at 382,000, driven by more surface material being used than what was estimated. Also there late in the day, I did get more feedback from Pike. They have drilled cores on the Walker Road to talk about that longitudinal cracking that we discussed at the last meeting. They're waiting to get the results from the lab on that. And then also Wilder Hill Road, the reclaim of that, we've been waiting relatively impatiently. If everything goes well, they will be here next Monday to reclaim that, roll it as a wheel, grade it after that. We received thank you notes from the Robotics, who were recipients of facade improvement funds, and then also from the Daniels family.
Nice. Thank you. All right, discussion on general warrant, June 21st and 12.
I move to approve general warrant number 12 in the amount of $628,946.23.
So motion and a second. On the discussion, the mobile building.
They came and did repairs to the tent cover on the trucks.
Okay, yeah, where they at?
Madison?
Yeah.
Madison, $100 an hour.
Anything else in the discussion?
I just, and like, I'm sure I probably know, I'm just in the brain part right now, but I can see on, you know, with the Robotics farm, I know that's TIF money. So is it just like we pay out of this and then like it comes out of another or replenishes that? Is that okay?
Yep, it's just drawn off on accounts.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Pike was.
That's ARBA.
That's first part.
Oh,
At half the payment.
oh, wait a minute.
Right, because we know why that's.
The other half is due at the end of the year.
Yeah, anything else on the discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's everybody. All right, discussion action on June 21st, airport one, number 6.
I guess we move to approve warrant number 7 for the airport in the amount of $19,097.66.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's everybody. Any discussion action on June 21st, sewer?
Move we approve the sewer commitment in the amount of $28,438.61.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? That's everybody. Public comments. You got anything? Okay. Moving forward here, discussion action on donations.
We've received an online donation from Ronald Courier in the amount of $250 to benefit the library.
I move that we accept that $200 donation to the library.
Second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Is everyone? And discussion action on Winslow community covered contribution.
This is something we've been talking about quite a bit of time. We have an account that folks contribute to help with food security. And we've got Blue Balance has donated into that. We have a couple individuals, one very faithful individual. And that account has got a balance of a little over $13,000 in it. We do not currently support a food pantry, food cupboard, food resource in our community. They operate within our community out of a food trailer. And so one of the things Matt and I had talked about, putting this on the agenda was, what does the board wish to contribute to this nonprofit? And if so, to what extent?
What is the funds going to use? Do we have any plans for the funds right now?
When we accept them as to support community food access. So it leaves it pretty generic. Those funds would go to, you know, a brick and mortar.
Right.
That would be part of that kind of a project if that was something that.
In a year's time, what was that, like a year ago? That 13,000 that we have now,
It was less. 6,200.
so it's almost done with stuff.
Well, so New Balance gave us 5,000.
Yeah.
And then we have a donor that gives us at least $100 a month. And then every now and then you catch 100 at Christmas or something like that. From folks.
Have we reached out? Is it Winslow that's supporting us right now? Have we reached out to see if they have any like imminent needs where they're the ones sort of supporting us, like that we can sort of help aid with? You know, I think that might help to get us to gauge how much we get, if they have any specific needs or anything like that. If we can, you know, cover any misses or any gaps in their funding, that might be, you know, where we should be looking at.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
All we're gonna do is give them money. You know what I mean? That's really all we can do.
Yeah.
But then that's my thing on like. If that account grew by X amount a year, just by, you know, or on maybe monthly paying something on a, not substantial, you know, not all of it, but like if we could help them with bills
A
monthly.
recurring contribution.
Right.
That way, if
Keep them coming
good
down.
stuff coming here, you know, you haven't given them like 10,000
Yeah.
a year.
Right.
There's circumstances change, you can't come here.
Then we still have some money in reserves in case we
Right.
have to do a brick and mortar.
I think it's worth like the conversation with them, just to like, you know, let them know that, you know, we do have some funds. We want to, you know, we're appreciative of what you're doing to support our community. What can we do to help you to be able to keep continuing to provide the service to us and see what they come up with?
Probably the easiest.
Right, I mean, they're putting.
Yeah, they're like, we need $50 a month instead of us being like,
$50,000.
here's like, okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Need anything more than that?
Motion to table, please.
Motion to table.
Second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. That's fair. Okay, discussion action on July 5th meeting. I will not be seeing. Do we want to have that meeting of July 5th? You know, you guys all around. I'm here, but I don't want to be here. So, you know.
We've customarily not held the first meeting in July.
Usually somebody's gone, or, you know, multiple people are gone.
I hate to break that.
That tradition. So that's something pressing. I think we're fine.
Right.
Yeah, like if something comes up, like I can obviously be here and do it, but like if we don't have anything that's like time sensitive, then, you know, we can push it. But if something does come up and we do need that, like I can be here.
Dylan, what'd you break today?
What's that?
This
The
meeting.
6, what's the next one after that?
6 plus 14 is 20.
That's why next thing was.
Actually, it would be about 19.
Okay.
You want a motion on that?
Yeah.
So what do we motion?
It'd be a motion to cancel the July 5th meeting barring an emergency.
So moved.
Second. A motion to second. Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's unanimous.
I want to talk to you on the July 5th.
I do not want to talk to you on July 5th.
Probably not
Just
disclosed.
other business. Other business. Evan, what have I did with this? You have anything for other business?
Yes, we do.
Barbara? Yeah.
All right. So you should have other business in your packet, which is an email from Upper Main Street resident Bob Pomeroy. He is an abutter to the Riverview Cemetery. As you drive up Upper Main Street, cemetery is on the left, he's the house just before it. And as you can see, these use of herbicides to control poison ivy in the cemetery is a concern to him. We have had occasion to discuss this with him on site before, with no happy solution. He's asked us to keep 300 feet away from the beehives and fruit plants, difficult to measure. And then he also invoked Title 22 section statute, formalizing a request for the town and the board of select persons for that. I reached out today to, which you should have a photocopy of my notes from this morning, our contractor, who is licensed and verified, well trained, whatnot, to apply various treatments. They made me aware of the fact that it is glyphosate that they use. That is used for curbside spraying, parking lots, and it's also used to control the invasive poison ivy at the back of the cemetery. So, and arguably, it may already be 300 feet away. However, neither here nor there. It's applied also only on days with little or no wind.
Yep.
It's the responsible thing to do, part of what they do. Needless to say, we have not signed any contract on an application in the cemetery. But we needed to deal with it because it's select board meeting day. So I reached out to the Board of Pesticides Control, and actually this morning was able to get right through to their acting director, who gave me a couple questions. I gave him this email and said, let me know what you think. He called the state apiarist, didn't know we had one, but we do. And she pretty much said, in brief, that they do not believe that glyphosate has any significant impact on beehives. Yes, there's an impact on bees, but not significant. Your impact to bees in their hives most usually is related to insecticides and pesticides and not herbicides. There's no statute regarding the spray distance. So where the 300-foot request came from, unsure. They did say that there's a 200-foot notification registry that the resident could enroll in if they would like to. And then there was the discussion about, if you find flower, regardless of what you're doing, you want to avoid treatment, just because that's where these are going. So really the question, what they're asking you to do is to place limits on this and or suspend the use of. We can use this treatment twice a year. Every year for at least the last 5 years. So I'm not sure what you want to do.
They have honeybees right now back there.
That's what he said, yes.
Have they had honeybees there for how long?
Yes, and I'm not sure, but just that.
Insurance died.
Well, I said 4 to 6 years ago, like the entire one, 6 feet high.
That was my point.
So anyway, I did pull the EPA's profile on the chemical that's used, and page 4, this could be highlighted in marked in red, that is no more than slightly toxic to birds and practically non-toxic to fish, aquatic invertebrates, and honeybees. So it is your pleasure as to what you want to do. It appeals to you, not to me, as to how you'd like to handle spraying. We use an outside contractor for liability reasons, obviously.
How big of an area is that on his property that he's asking for
The buffer piece,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not entirely sure. I mean,
So we don't spray on his property, obviously.
but he's asking for the 300 feet around his hives and vegetation.
Yeah, so we're probably,
I just don't know how big his piece of property.
we're probably 100 feet from the property line. Where things are on his property located, I'm not sure.
Could you just give him that breakdown of what you just read and say, this is what we found? Can we work?
So our contractor in past discussions have indicated the same, and it's to no avail.
Why do we spray? Just poison ivy?
So in that specific location is poison ivy, and it just creeps right up into the bank and overtakes the cemetery.
Can get some goats.
Pardon?
Tell him to get some goats.
Oh, then we'll have people calling that the goats aren't the.
It's that you could like mow down and then spray, so you know that these aren't in your
You roll over.
climb over.
yeah,
I mean, I think
You know what I'm saying?
when it comes to like all these applications of these types of materials, if someone is licensed and knows what they're doing, you do it in the right conditions so that there isn't wind. And usually as soon as these things hit what their intended target is and it dries, it's no longer even toxic to like anybody. So I think that if you trust how it's being applied, all of these things really apply to it. So, I mean. It's a tough one. Like how many people are going through the cemetery and going in there and doing things and there's poison ivy or. Can,
I used
It's
to
hard to
run through
move.
there.
yeah,
I had an issue, but that's probably because speak for it.
Right. Yeah, it's tough, man. I'm definitely all about honeybees, like really. But without some concrete evidence that we are impacting those hives, I don't see how we could rightfully set a standard. I mean, it says that it doesn't, and whether this is right or not, I don't know. I just know that this is what's put in front of us.
Do we get a lot of requests like this? So
No.
I'm like in the camp of like, it's an easy way to. Respect a neighbor's wishes, you know what I mean? And if it's not a huge deal on the cemetery end, why not? A little less to spray. And if we don't have people constantly coming saying, stop spraying this, stop spraying that, then.
I
If
know
it's
it's
been an ongoing issue, then like,
I know it's a little bit of work, but has anybody ever gone over and just met with him to say, hey, show us what it is you're looking at? If the piece isn't that big, are there alternatives that can be sprayed that he's aware of? And we just say, listen, we're willing to maybe break off that 300-foot section. But you're gonna need to take care of that with something that's safe for him.
or like a hive, how big is that? I mean,
Well,
can you just?
these travel miles.
We have had relatively unproductive conversations on site.
Okay, and that kind of assumed, but I would think that.
Me, contractor, representative from Public Works, things like that, to explain risk exposure, things like that. It hasn't changed. And, like I said, we don't have an active agreement on the cemetery right now. We have not been spraying, but it's been alleged that we have sprayed the cemetery already. I don't think you're gonna,
Get it.
yeah,
Just
and
Is there,
the caution with, it's not much to ask,
mhm,
is that then who's next?
Yeah.
Because I have dogs
mhm.
or I have children.
Yeah.
And then.
And there's no basis for this, like
Where
it's
else do we spray this stuff?
all over the place.
Is that what they were spraying the other day on the
Yeah.
road?
So it's maintenance, it's curbs and cracks and sidewalks and parking lots, and other than that, we're gonna be in there, we back in every week.
is there a time of the year that is better? Cause we spray a couple things in our house and we have bees, but we do it like early spring before things really start growing.
Well,
Would that
certain
work?
sprays, it depends on where the plant is at in its growth cycle.
Yeah.
So it's, if it's not up yet, you can't spray because it has to be sprayed either on leaves or different things. So there's timing for it to actually be effective.
This we treat now, end of June, early July, and then the week before Labor Day, so that Main Street looks good for facilities. And we've done that probably a year or two after I came in. It became a fixed contract. It also includes spraying for ticks of the gum and things like that.
Stop for me, is so we don't do anything unless you can provide me with evidence that we are impacting those honeybees in the hives. And I would need more than just a verbal statement.
And if the state's sending us info,
Written
like
out here,
they're sending like,
it's a lot.
they're not gonna risk any liability for themselves. Whatever they're sending to us has been brutally scrutinized and studied and looked at, so.
So you can go, if you Google honeybees and glyphosate, you will see so many articles. And the difficult thing is that none of them are scholarly articles, right? There's no journal study or anything like that. So that's why I ended up just peeling through all of these newspaper articles. And then, so that's why I went to EPA and NIH and places like that to figure out what they had. So it's not that you can't find material out there that would support the accusation, it's just a matter of what's scientifically driven.
Yeah.
So I was hesitant, and then when the state apiarist offered her services, then it's like, okay, well, and they said, you could share our office number and we can make connections.
I mean, that's like the foremost expert we have on this stuff. If they're saying it's not a big deal, like, we can't make it a big deal if like the people who this is their job to like study this and know that, like, it's.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Shy of him bringing photos that we spraying in 2 weeks later, the hives are dead, I don't know, the science doesn't back it right now, and I'm a sucker for the bees, so. I would definitely help them out if I thought there was more to this, but I don't see where we can, and I don't see where we are impacting based on this
So just so I'm clear, 4 to 6 years ago, he says this happened. Have we sprayed every year since?
We've sprayed twice a year. Twice a year.
And it was only the once 4 to 6 years ago,
Well, the other day,
according to the,
he said it was last year. Right? When he called earlier yesterday, he said it was last
They
year.
said that it killed his bees. Thousands of dollars worth of bees.
I know it can be expensive, I mean, I've heard that, but I don't
These,
know that, and we would certainly need.
What do you gotta do to get thousands of bees?
$180 for a starter.
You have a bee farm where he's got acres of it or something? Thousands of dollars.
so I guess the 4 to 6 years ago, that kind of. Doesn't necessarily, maybe there was something that happened that year that wasn't necessarily had to do with this. And the evidence, like Matt said, isn't really there yet.
Right, there's nothing saying that, hey, if there was something here that said this is bad, we would not be using it.
I mean, this is sprayed like right where my horses graze. My horses are like, I mean, there's, yeah.
So just for myself right now, no action without him providing us
Causation, yeah.
with something a bit more concrete, you know, or something scientific.
Right.
I don't,
I would say that I'm in line with that as well.
you want an official motion on that?
No, I'm gonna ask if there is a motion. If there's not a motion, there will be no action.
I move to have no motion or
Pretty
action.
much, there we go. Okay. Good. And I hope that what we do on impacting meetings. I'll test this. Good meetings next year.
I have passed my best as my word.
These are cool.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I'm actually anxious to start. so.
Again, like,
I really-
I have passed these boards. I've had to go up this more stuff. I've had to test like. I would feel very comfortable if I had used my whole spraying this there.
Oh, I'm gonna get today.
I think so. It's been a week already, man. Okay, we're just gonna keep moving forward, here. Executive session.
I move we go into executive session.
I need a motion to table executive session on economic development, please.
So, there we go. We'll in a second. All those in favor? Perfect.
Well, think about putting on the trestle because you like people.
We got, you didn't see him down there? Anyway, okay, executive session, to discuss labor negotiations.
I move to go into executive session, to discuss labor negotiations.
I'll second. Motion in a second, any further discussion, seeing none, favor. Good to see you, but you got to go.
Take a look at that. You know, you want me to? Huge one.